poems are middle of the road or below average. That's what will make other middle of the road and below average poets fall in line behind you. That's what will make you their demigod. Because you work tirelessly on your own behalf, and people feel they can ride your coattails toward the diner. Because you are overtly ambitious in a way they too can admire, being ambitious but maybe more timid. Everyone is overqualified to be a poet. In the 20th century, all you needed to be a poet was a quill and a funny hat, which could draw the attention of your village folk hither whilst you prattled on about the fate of the dying birds or how happy your marriage was. Some people think it's wise to create power couples to help them gain notoriety. Beware. Share the spotlight with no one, for perhaps they will crush you, and you'll be stuck working for them, washing their car in the rain, doing their dry cleaning in the rain, etc. Your contacts must work for you, not the other way around. That would be like the Bee Gees writing a folk song. You'd be like, huh? I hope I've exposed some of the machinations behind the facade of poetry and the illusion of a poetic community. One only experiences the goodness of poetry through their own work and feels the warm bosoms of community if it only is actively serving them and their interests. I did not become a poet to belong to something bigger than myself, to feel connected to people more effectively, or to find a human substitute for the sublime. I'm here for the fame, the money, and if there's brownies around, then for the brownies. The need for sex, love, friendship, the desire to create something unique, these pale in me, and in my experience, all poets, against the need to make poetry work for them. Poetry substitutes religion for many of us. And who wants to worship a God that isn't really actually just ourselves? Who's got that kind of time? You'll know you're the most important poet in America, whether it happens Tuesday, Wednesday, or next week. I've got big hopes for this crowd to join me on Mount Rushmore with Jewel. Although Maya Angelou truly lives the dream of the most important poet in America. What was the name of the poet who a year ago made the Obama's inauguration poem? You guys know that one too? It's a tough crowd. No one knows. That's what it says on the teleprompter. But Maya made Clinton's first speech and segued that into a dream we all dream. If she comes to speak at a university, a car must pick her up at the airport. A car with no poets aboard. That's literally written into the contract. Whoever is driving her does so without speaking to her. The contract is very specific. She travels to the venue and away from the venue without having to read anyone's poems or comment on any manuscripts. She is driven back to the airport by maybe the same deaf-mute non-poet. And then she's gone, check in hand. That is the dream. A poet so important and renowned that she literally is not contractually obligated to deal with poets or poetry whatsoever. It is a sweet, sweet dream. If by tomorrow you might have 2,000 Facebook friends, that's a start. But how do you turn Facebook friends into Facebook fans? That's the key. Yeah, how do I do that? That's the key. Let your buzzsaw whir. Attach yourself to famous people and dismiss anything else. Your ability to say no to people is more important than your ability to say yes. Read your poems with the deepest voice you can. Public radio loves that. The kitten ate the crayons with a clickety-clack. Maroon, burnt sienna, and flesh-colored, each with a tremendous crack. Perhaps get a British accent. It just sounds cool and smart. And how do you get those poetic mms that come at the end of every great poem? A sound that is at once affirmative, exultant, and hungry for more. Always end with deep epiphany. Just throw those in everywhere, but especially at the end. What did the dead bird help you realize? That we're all dandruff snowing against the rocky shore? That a skull has many eyes? That death is a mirror we must make love under if we are ever to truly live? All that nonsense all the time. Relentlessly worrying. I thank you for braving the monsoon. I think the monsoon may have stopped, though. It was on when I wrote this speech. Thanks for braving the monsoon to be here in this historic East Village tonight. A quaint reminder of how poetry used to be. You have to be a millionaire to live in this neighborhood now. Poets have been priced out, mostly because poets were too lazy to do what it takes to become millionaires. Don't fall into their despair cocoon. I'm ending this talk now, but I don't want your applause tonight. Save your applause for yourself. Never waste a single clap on anyone else. Applause is the sound of someone else asking for applause. And when you're number one, you no longer need affirmation. Your silent, chilly fear of me is what I represent will be thanks enough. That's the kind of applause that never ends. I'll take your questions if there are any, which there shouldn't be. But then I have to go back on my way, back to the work of exalting myself. It is a constant struggle, and I make it look so very easy. Questions?
So where do you fall in the pantheon of your speech?
I really can't say, Edmund. I'll let the test of time really make that endeavor. I mean, I really have too much attention now as it is. Yes, sir.
What are you reading?
Yes, you can check about it on my Facebook blog, or my Goodreads blog, or my bloggy blog, or the blog on the inside of my thigh. Yes, sir.
Do you find it helps to wear any kind of particular attire so that people recognize you, like sports jerseys or anything?
When you're this famous, you actually just get recognized wherever you go. When you achieve this, you'll know. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any questions.
Oh. In the back, yes.
Did you know who the current poet laureate was?
Yes. Why, was that not clear? I didn't know who the Obama lady was, though, because I really thought they should have gotten Maya Angelou back. She's top-notch. But then instead, if you watched the inauguration last year, they had the poet, and she was okay. And then they had the preacher guy, and he was just
He
outstanding.
was way better than she was.
That's what I'm saying. Better. Because he's not a poet. Yes, sir. Oh, no one should move unless they have a question. Yes, sir.
Have you heard the statement made by a New York publisher that a piece of paper that is blank, that you buy from a paper manufacturer or a distributor, has a certain value, right? Like it's a commodity, right? Put a poem on it, and what happens?
And there's really no change in the power, I would say.
No value. It had value as a piece of paper, but now you've ruined it.
I think it says more about the state of New York book publishing than anything. I mean, at some point, the actual page will have no value. Everything will be read off of screens. So they're all going out of business too. So it's obviously a huge brain trust there. Good work, everybody in Manhattan book publishing. Yes, sir. Oh, you don't have a question either. Thanks, everybody. Yes, sir.
Oh, remember about a month and a half ago when I ran into you at the Strand? I think it was Sunday. And I was looking for a book and we chatted for a while, and I was just wondering, were you mad at me?
No. But it's good to feel that fear. You should leave every time you bump into somebody that you know, everything. You should always be wondering, is he okay with me?
Right.
Should I send him some flowers? That's not a bad idea. Always be constantly worrying about how you're being treated and how other people are treating you. In the case of our interaction, because I have more power than you, be fearful that I may turn on you at some point. If you had more power than me, you're like, I probably will have to destroy that gym for being aloof. Yes, sir.
If you work at a bookstore like yourself,
yes.
Do you recommend your own books, but then kind of hide behind a cloak of non-identity?
My books sell themselves, as we can see. Tonight, both books can be yours for $8. $8 American gets you both books. No, most of the time I just recommend people read the Da Vinci Code, because most of the people that come into bookstores can't actually read, which the Da Vinci Code serves that purpose. Yes, sir. Oh, you don't have a question. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks for being here.
Dark vision. Everybody come back for Latasha Diggs and Ann Tardos on Wednesday. See you.